Not the story of 50-50. Hey, Sizwi, Lumandoza Wati, let's go 50-50.
I'm someone who comes in from a sales background. So every time we deal with the client, they'll tell you that, you know what, let me speak to my husband, let me speak to my wife.
If you and your wife that becomes a different context than McDonald's situations.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you... No, it can't be. You can still be an alpha that's at home. Like, you it's not just because you're at home now, you're not an alpha, you're domesticated.
Okay.
If they're dating you and they know you're a softie,
Yeah.
they'll understand that you know what?
What's a softie?
He just went off.
Kabza.
Wait.
Kabza.
No.
RedemptionX, we're back again, guys. This is Kolani, Mr. X, and I'm here with the gentleman in the round table effect. We're going to be discussing something very powerful, and I've got Jimmy here and I've got Kabza here. Gents, how are you doing today?
Now we're here.
No, we're good, man. Yes. How are you, man?
I'm good. In this winter season, jeez.
Nice one. I see today you also have like...
You look cold, man.
Bra Olive in the background as well.
We got Bra Olive in the background. Yeah. Hey, guess what? He's here. He's going to share a lot of sentiments. And to kick it off, I want to go straight to the point. Not the story of 50-50. Hey, Sizwi, Lumandoza Wati, let's go 50-50.
You know,
how do you feel about that? What is that?
Can you give me more context on the story of 50-50?
Hey,
What
okay,
I'm talking about?
let's give the context. So there's this concept that we've reached in society, a concept that says men and women should feel equal.
Okay.
You know, in terms of the household, what you provide, what you offer.
Yeah.
And your work and whatever. But you should feel equal to your partner, male or female. How do you guys feel about that?
Look, I think we need to also understand, is it a traditional role that that person is already playing, which wouldn't count towards the 50-50, would it? It would just be part of what you do anyway.
Yeah.
So I think the 50-50 then becomes a part of other things and not outside of what you're meant to be doing as my partner.
What could those other things be, though?
Yep.
Specifically.
You're looking at me, married guy. Let's start with you, married guy.
Nah, you know what? Let's not take shots. Let's not take shots. Kabza, I know we often ring on you as the older generation, but don't hate on him because he's married, man. He's still one of the boys.
No, but think about it this way. Because my 50-50 is we're splitting Big Mac.
Yeah.
Nama chips.
I see where he's
the bill and things like that. Yours is on a different level.
She pays the car, he pays the mortgage.
You understand?
All right.
But you know, I think the 50-50 thing is something that I think we knew of as we were growing up because we've never seen it on our parents saying, you know, 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's really women saying they want 50-50, they only want 50-50 sometimes when it suits them. You know what I mean?
So it's conditional.
Sometimes it is.
It's dependent on, you know, what you're saying now leads me to that thought that I always have in the corporate world to say they wanted to get fairness in salaries, in jobs and positions.
Right.
But now we gave them that in the sense that you get that outside. But in the home, is that fair? Is that working?
To a certain degree, I think it is. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Let's say you've got a child, a young baby. You know, I don't see a man playing a 50-50 in that role. That's a role that's...
What do you mean? Give us context.
Yeah.
A fully grown man sometimes it's difficult for them to take care of the baby.
Yeah.
You know, to say, okay, you can go to work and then needs to do the meals, change the diapers, you know, the whole...
So is that what the house... is that a house husband now?
Okay, yeah. Well, actually, gentlemen, you're moving ahead and it's beautiful. I love that.
We're still going to come to that. If it's a really 50-50 and then we're saying we're sharing all the roles, a woman can say, okay, no, now that I've given birth to this baby that I've been carrying for 9 months, I'll be going back to work. You should take time off for work and then take care of the baby.
Here's the irony. You're actually talking to Mr. X, who's done that with all his kids, whereby 3 months later, the mom went back to work.
Yeah.
And I had to do the changing. Literally, it's been so weird that men say that we can't, but at the same time, we're fighting to have our kids back. So let's talk on that.
Wait. Listen, get me right. I never said men cannot do that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like it's not something that they'd want to do.
They'd want to do. I get you.
You
So
know
it's
what I mean?
it's optional.
Yes.
If you want to do it, you should be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And that gives the perspective that you're saying that we should share roles
Exactly.
50-50.
So,
I get you.
because what I'm saying with that is that if ever you saying as a man, we should go 50-50 with the woman, then there are other aspects of 50-50 that you won't necessarily do. No.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm coming from
I
with
get
that
you.
thing.
So, Kabza, I want to entertain this concept of yours, of the burger and the new age, because you already went in hard on Jimmy as a married man. So let's go back to you and your generation. You're splitting the bill 50-50. How's that worked out for you? Have they helped pay?
Nah, that's not the point.
Nah.
Nah, that's not the point, right? But I think the 50-50 is not necessarily on the day of. It might be, I got us this one day, then you'll get it the next time, whatever the case might be. You feel me? So it's more of I think from a single guy's perspective, it's more the transactional, essentially, more than it is. And even if maybe we're dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, it's like, it's 50-50 where you might be spending 50% of your time with me at my place and vice versa, you know what I mean? Where...
But you know, Kabza, I think, and UX, I think, you know, the 50-50 concept, it comes where money is involved.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
I wanted to hit that.
You know,
and based on you saying that, I want to let you finish your point because I want to take us somewhere else after this.
So it really comes there. And more than, you know, like... Sometimes it's like I've had women complaining about 50-50 when it comes to a restaurant. Saying, why would you take me to a place and then expect me to pay half of the thing, you know?
So next thing you call Bob the Build.
You know what I mean? So whenever there's money involved, that's where 50-50 comes through. And these other things, well, it doesn't really matter. But where there is money, and that's where the 50-50 thing comes in.
Yeah, but
I like the money part.
But think about it, though. It's like if I take you out of your house and I say, hey, let's go do A, B, and C, you know, I can get her saying, but now 50-50 where you bothered me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? No, but think about it. If you are the one that is now taking me out of my house to come do this, I wouldn't expect it to be 50-50 in that sense.
Yeah. Gents,
it can't be.
This is deep. So I want to get a definition, which I looked up, and it was so interesting to read this.
Yeah.
Because you've been breaking it down unawarely.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there, you can check it yourself. You can Google this stuff, guys. What is 50-50 in terms of meaning? It says here, in a relationship context, 50-50 typically means that both partners are contributing equally to all aspects of a relationship. This includes, and not limited to, responsibilities, chores, financial contribution, thanks Jimmy, emotional support, wow, man, and decision-making. Give me your take on this, gents.
Decision-making, I can agree. You know, I'm someone who comes in from a sales background. So every time we deal with a client, they'll tell you that, you know what, let me speak to my husband, let me speak to my wife, and see how she feels about me getting this, you know. Not that I don't have money, but let me involve her, you know.
Yeah, but...
That's progressive thinking, that's respecting your partner, that's 50-50.
But isn't that on, like, big decisions?
No, not even. Not even. I can tell
you know,
now.
You know why I'm laughing, gents?
Yeah.
You touched on something, and it reminds me of the concept of how we think as males. So sometimes what you're saying works, but sometimes it's a runaway tool. When let me ask my wife happens, sometimes guys say that to avoid doing it to other guys.
No, I get that, but you know, if like I'm saying, I'm from the sales background, we used to be trained on those kind of things, of those objections. When someone says, you know, let me speak to my wife, and then we'll be saying, but say, why would you want to speak to your wife? Because I'm sure when you pitch up with this thing, it's something that you need it for a household. She would be happy for. You know?
Nice.
So,
which means you are now sharing decision making
to
a point where whatever decision you make, you allow your partner to have a say.
So that's 50-50 decision making.
I get your point, and you supported it beautifully.
That's why I say it's like transactional. We meet each other wherever we meet each other. But
emotional support. Let's talk on that. It's still Men's Mental Health Month. Let's not forget it.
Yeah, but I think that 50-50 goes different. It's a different split. I think it ends up being like a 60-40, not a 50-50.
Why do you say that?
Why do you say that?
Because think about it. You are most likely more to be supportive to her things than you would be willing to open up to her with your things.
Yeah, but is that a case whereby you acting strong as if everything's fine?
You know that some women, then they might be like, you see, he's weak. You know, because you must think about it that way, right? As a man, you perceive yourself in a certain way. You don't want to be looked any differently. You present yourself because it's like, as a man, quote unquote,
as an alpha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, yo, what type of man now is gonna break down with me?
Oh wow.
Because think about it, some girls are like that. They're not emotionally
So you
mature
basically, if I can sum it up, and hopefully I'm doing it justice, you want us to be 50-50 on a level of emotional balance.
Right.
I should be able to cry like she does, emote like she does as a male.
Exactly.
But now, how is he going to do that if ever he says he has to be strong?
Exactly.
And, you know
now he's contradicting the alpha male role.
You know
but then, that's what I'm saying. Then your woman is now like, but this nigga cries every time. You see what I'm saying? So exactly. So now you as a man now, it's like you don't yehlisa your stones in a sense where you're not being seen. That's why I say it ends up becoming a 60-40 split.
No, but our ladies, if they dating you and they know you're a softie, they'll understand that you know what?
What's a softie?
A softie is a guy who allows his feelings.
Yeah, but how many girls respect the softie for real?
Yeah.
How many girls respect the softie for real?
Why would they end up getting married?
They actually end up marrying the softies.
Yeah.
They actually do.
Yeah.
They
Jimmy's right.
But that's what I'm saying.
And there's nothing wrong about the softie.
You can marry them, but that's what I'm saying is that I'm talking from the perspective of the respect factor and how you're being looked at.
You know what you're shaping this to? And I want to take this here, gents. The masculinity issue.
Yes.
Versus a masculinity in the sense that you're an alpha male versus a domesticated man. I'm glad we jumped on this part.
Yeah.
No, but
because now we're moving into talking about this. Is it working? And what works best? A masculine man who's strong versus a domesticated one.
And the next voice you're gonna hear is from Abuti Ole.
And that's deep. You know what? You took it there. But I don't want to just leave it there.
Maybe what you should do, X, for us, just take us through a masculine man.
Okay.
And the domestic.
And once I'm done, well, before I even get there, I want to allow the amazing voice behind the room to give us a perspective here.
Wola Perry White.
Abuti Olive.
Wola Teddy P.
Abuti Olive.
Teddy P.
Tell us.
Okay. Calm down. Yeah, no. Listening to you guys, I'm getting all different perspectives. But I think what has been missed, and you can have your drink, Mr. X, right now, because I just want to share my thoughts. I don't want you guys to look like you're lost.
Are you sharing your thoughts on the 50-50 part?
I'm sharing my thoughts on what you guys have obviously shared because it kind of made sense when Mr. X read the definition. You know? Yeah. And if you can read it again and after I'm done here is, you know, it speaks clearly on the fact that 50-50 is not necessarily the number of half and half and the equal that you know, it's more of men and women being able to not use gender roles as you know, as if and when and how and so and forth. Because of, if you look at the traditional role, it still doesn't mess up with the current roles. The traditional roles would be, you had abo uncle ntwana ne, or abo malume or abo tama wethu. No, they would come back from Spanini, mama and wherever they used to work. And magafika umuntu okhona bekayenza nathatha i-check lakhe le 500 rand. Afake abamnikeze anikeze uma-oledi will take care care of home. You know what I mean? And then if the rand yani, you would turn up puzo or train. You understand? That's the 50 that we're talking about. Is that the man would go and hunt and then come back, and then as a provider, whatever provision is there, then the wife would make sure that it takes care of the entire family throughout the month until he gets another provision. So that's the balance. It's the roles and responsibilities that I think that we need to understand, that it's not about the fact that the wife has to go to work and then the man has to go to work and so forth. It's about the fact that if we have a situation where when a Jimmy Jumbo ushatile, if you and your wife that becomes a different context than McDonald's situations. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is the definition, if you go back, X, and then I want you to maybe read it and then go back to the gentleman before you jump onto the next topic again, is that it's strictly, it simply says that financial, the responsibilities it's more financial and the responsibilities and the emotional stuff, because there are other things that of which men have to deal with outside. A man wants peace
of mind.
A man wants just that emotional support.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you understand that? That in itself is the other 50%. After he had dealt with Ufantonde, you understand?
And then needs to be allowed to go to 6'9". And then the party.
Only put it wisely and said. And there's a thing you're reminding me. It says, men don't marry beauty, they marry peace.
True. You should see us when we're out there. We were the happiest when we were with the guys. Oprah, Olive, and Chris, about Beyonce. We had. Not that we don't keep at home, but that space.
That's our space.
It gives a bigger happiness. It adds the happiness. It's a bigger
when
happiness.
I was actually peace,
It's a bigger happiness.
But to tell you, what Oliver was saying is true. Where I grew up, which is Benoni, I had a friend that I used to hang out with. And I would see Babake saying, hey, Achela, my friend, go and tell you Mamako, And then you see the guy, Samba so telling Baba Mapia, we are as Puzele, Wemnandi. So, so, he was taking care of his 50 and then, coming with a check and saying, this is what's available, but, it should accommodate all of us.
And wow, that's powerful. And thank you, Olive, for that, because it gives a different context to this 50-50 story. It's not the financial well-being into the home. It's not the balance of exact 50-50. It's gender roles that are balanced enough to take care of home.
Correct.
Hence, take care of home.
Hence I was saying that, to us now, that's what they are making it about.
Yes.
Money. That's not the case.
Yeah. And I'm going to read this again, and I would only the definition, so that we ring it in, but we also create our own context that is better balanced for families.
Yeah.
The inner relationship part is strong because you have to be in a relationship. So let me finish the rest. In a relationship context, 50-50 typically means that both partners are contributing equally to all aspects of a relationship. Okay? This includes responsibilities, chores, financial contributions, emotional support, and decision-making.
Right.
However, we as Redemption are saying, as roundtable gents, sometimes it does not necessarily mean it's minang letter 10,000, as an example. Umama uleti 500. That's still 50-50 based on the role she plays in the house.
Almost 100%.
But
Is that what we say?
But that's why I said to you, Guti, there's just things that are just meant to be done versus...
So we are supporting gender roles here.
We're, I think within, not even supporting gender roles, but supporting what needs to be done.
What needs to be done.
Amongst the both of us.
Okay.
I think we're recognizing the roles that the women play to contribute to that 50-50. It's not all about money.
All right. So now it takes me to the next question. The roles that people play, right? masculinity, an alpha male versus a domesticated man. What's your thoughts on that? The man that you said earlier, basically, just to describe it, someone who decides, I'm going to stay at home, mommy must work. What's that like?
You know, it depends why you're staying at home.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if mommy is capable of going and getting what I cannot go and get, then there's nothing.
So you're saying it's a lack?
No, it's not a
no
lack.
ability to get more?
No. Let's say she's got an opportunity to bring something that I cannot.
Okay.
You know, then that's fine.
That's out of his hands.
That's out of my hands. I mean, I'll take care of the home.
Okay.
You know.
So you would be comfortable to be a stay-at-home dad, so to speak?
But no, to your definition of the word, where it's you doing what needs to be done to fairly accommodate the relationship.
Remember,
as per the definition, right? Because that's what we're going off on.
No, we went off that. Remember, but I want to ask you, I'm asking you on the perspective of a masculine man who says, I'm an alpha, I'm going to go out there, hunt, provide. Right? Yeah. Versus a man who says, I'm going to be domesticated. I'm okay with staying at home.
But for me, that it's like now you can't be an alpha that's at home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you... No, it can't be. You can still be an alpha that's at home. Like, you it's not just because you're at home now, you're not an alpha or you're domesticated.
Okay.
I think that's a bit... Because you can be a domesticated. I think the word maybe you're looking for is like a simp. Like, where it's now in that lane. That's actually what you're doing because
we're getting it. Jimmy. So Kamsa is standing on business on Angege ube domesticated, ube alpha.
But think about it. You can't say domesticated and make it seem like an alpha can't be domesticated.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And also, I'm not a pet. You can't domesticate me.
Like domesticate.
All right, but so that's why. But think about it. So if you can still be an alpha, but you're doing what needs to be done in the relationship based on the
circumstance. So summarize it for you. You're saying, even if I'm a stay-at-home dad, I should respect it like a man.
No. Yeah. You should respect it equally, not like anything or like a woman.
I'm asking if you should be respected like a man.
Should you be respected like a man 100%. Even if I decide I'm going to stay at home, look after the kids, 100%. While my wife is out there as a breadwinner?
Remember, don't change your standpoint just because
you are now unemployed.
You know what I mean?
Oh, we're adding that part.
So we don't give respect just because you're out there, you're employed.
Yeah, like,
even though that's how men in general gets treated when you're not bringing bacon or whatever, you know.
I heard something in the background. I think Abu Olive wants to add something.
Yeah, no, he knows that what you're saying is true. Yes, man, when you don't have money as a man, sometimes you don't get the full respect
you
deserve.
Actually, you're right. There's so much out there. Like I always say, even when we
But that's just society. And family members sometimes will do that. But if ever your wife loves you and believes in you, they'll still give you the respect irregardless.
You know what? You're raising something very powerful before we go to Abu Olive because he's burning to give us fire here. However, you're raising something very powerful from a male that I know who has a daughter.
Yeah.
You know, I have a daughter. One thing I realized, when I spend time, like I said earlier, at home, I built a bond with her that is impenetrable by any other man, which I know for life, I'm going to be daddy.
Yeah.
So there are benefits to being at home instead of being the hunter always, especially to girl children, seeing what's happening to girl children these days.
Even a boy child, eh?
Yeah, but I'm definitely, I'm 100%. But I'm seeing there's a very big difference with a girl who's grown up with a father present versus daddy issues girl.
Yeah, true.
So, Abu Olive, hey! Talk to us.
No, langichaza. No, langichaza. Because, you know, as much as you're saying different things, but you more often are saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah, and no, because, you know what, it's... I think more of these topics, there's more of gray areas than black and white. And that's where the problem is. And I think it is very important for us to delve into those kind of discussions to understand why it makes sense to to be one or the other. Yabona for me now, the role of being a dad that looks after abantwana bakhe, that hits home. Like, it hits home. No, it hits home because of it. If Mr. X, because I had to look after my firstborn, and the mother of my child at the time had to go, and I don't mind even telling Ikamala Konondomiso. You understand? No. Let me tell you, she was still the best person that I had a child with. That's the firstborn. She had to wake up. She had to wake up in the morning and go and work as. Listen here, ne? Clean offices in Sandton.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
And we, as young as we were, she had to go and clean offices in Sandton and stuff like that. We even had to come up with businesses where mina no mama kenaye. We had to see things outside the office for all the staff members. But let me tell you, let me tell you that family for me, it actually made me the man that I am today in terms of becoming a hustler.
Right.
Because of that very same woman who had to wake up, and I had to take care of my child, Umulimo, my firstborn. And I had to, and let me tell you, my favorite song with Umlimo until today, when I used to raise him,
yeah, we have to wash it. We have to wash it, my boy.
So it was Uprantesh Mkezeni umtana, amkezeni naye. We used to listen to that song. My boy, as old as he is right now in his 20s, he can go back to that song and say, this is the song that my dad used to play for me when I was young.
Memory.
So I was looking after my boy. But Umama Kebe had to go look and look for the bread. And even the grandmother. So that thing hits home, like when X is saying the same thing. When that happens, and then you have that kind of support.
Sorry, Brasens, you're touching me. Sorry.
I'm touching you. What are you saying? I'm touching you.
Man. But I'm saying the vulnerability
we're going to send it to HR.
The vulnerability we are sharing here.
Take it to HR, this one.
Guys, as Abu Olive is saying, the vulnerability we're sharing is powerful and it's touching me. So
let's go,
my demeanor right now. Continue.
Yeah, no. But I want you to go to your point as well. But what I'm saying is, for me, that was one of the moments that made me the man that I am today. I can run whatever conglomerate and do whatever I need to do today.
Get it done.
If it was ever a defining moment of anything that I've done and the conglomerate that I have today, it was based on the fact that I had to sit there as a dad and look after my son.
Learn.
And realize that I had to be better.
Right.
But the woman that was behind me
was making you
was the best kind of inspiration to make me the man that I am today.
And was feeding. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's feeding back. So now, was he not an alpha male? No, he still was. He just was in the process of learning. And that's why I'm saying you have to separate the domesticated and simp. Because I think with that simp thing, that's when the lady is saying, when I'm going. That's what you're saying. And domesticated means I'm just doing what needs to be done. I'm still the alpha at home. I'm just not at work.
I mean,
powerful, by the way. before we go deeper, gents, again, apologies, because Olive hits the nail on the head. And I just want to, before we talk further, I want to comment on what he said as a personal experience. That is so true. When you become a male who sits at home, takes care of a child, like you said, changing nappies and what, do you know we can do that? It's just that maybe we don't like it, like you said earlier. Yep. However, there's a bond.
Like it either.
Of course. But it's expected as a role, which is why we're saying gender roles can change. However, I just want to give shout out to men that are doing that. Go ahead, do it, be called whatever. Yet, we still want to define the factor. Alpha male.
I'm going to show you a paint now. I'm going to show you a paint.
Says the man who's showing a paint.
And that was a top mic.
Jimmy?
Top mic. Yo, pipe bomb, some bomb.
Yeah, sorry, Chase, to cut you off. But
when Olive says that, that's why I'm always saying that, I can't believe, there are men out there that just impregnate someone and leave and don't want to be part of that experience. It's it's a beautiful experience to be next to your child when they're growing up. I think if there's one thing I'm proud of by myself is that, I avoided having a child in my 20s because I knew that's not the woman I was going to end up with, and the child was not going to have a father to raise, just going to be another baby mama, you know what I mean? So, guys are missing out on a beautiful experience.
Yeah,
but but also, let's be fair, if I'm not ready for it,
why did you impregnate her?
If I'm not ready for it as well, that's also a factor that you have to factor in, essentially. Because if I'm not ready for it...
But it goes back to what you said in a session we heard. Find the right person. Find out if she's ready, and then tell her how you feel. Otherwise, don't have sex with her.
Yeah, I mean, you're being irresponsible.
Yeah.
We
can't say a woman is now pregnant, but I wasn't ready.
I'm not ready for it.
You know what happened.
Exactly.
There's logic. Maulala, guzozalwa.
And I get it. Sometimes you'll think
African proverb.
Sometimes you'll get a woman. Maybe they're not being honest with you. That maybe I'm preventing, and then she falls pregnant while she knew that you don't want a child.
Yeah, but nigga, I've had some trappers, bro.
Alright, chance. Let's not lose a track of the topic.
Yeah.
Exodus, wait. Listen here. But you're also allowing it. But you're also allowing it.
Let me put it this way.
No,
I enjoy the chance running with it. But they just ran over the whole bridge. And they fell off a bridge that was incomplete.
But the thing is that you also didn't check whether Okabza took his medication before the show or not. He just went off.
Kabza.
Wait.
Kabza.
No. Listen. The top Exodus. No, X. My guy.
I love it. Let me bring it back.
No. Let's bring it back. We're talking about the fact that... No. We're talking about the fact that whether Abu Mamacita, they are still comfortable.
I will walk off the show, guys.
Nah. Listen.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying,
we're still trying to, distinguish whether Abu Mamacita, they're comfortable with the fact that, men can take over, what is, quote unquote, domesticated roles. And I think we started off on a very sensitive, lovely kumbaya. And I think everyone was listening was like, oh, Shem, Maramanje, No, listen, James, listen. No, I think we were speaking on issues where I think as men we took over, and I think from my personal point of view, I took over a very what would traditionally be called a domesticated role, and at the time I was just playing my part,
right?
Because of Mama. Mama Umtwana was going and hustling for,
right. Yes.
and I think X was doing the same thing, right? Until Kabza obviously went crazy. I don't know if Jimmy, from a marital point of view, there's ever been issues where he had to be knocked off from what is called an alpha role, and then he had to take over other things, and I think that would be interesting. But then,
So what you're saying there is something actual that I wanted to bring up.
Nice.
So I think I had a conversation with Bra Olive as well. So you were telling me, that Sundays sometimes he wakes up, you'll just start peeling things, getting things ready for cooking. You know what I mean? So
I guess that's why his name is Olive.
Yeah. So for me,
it's a word
for me, just to come to come to what Olive is saying, do you know at home I prefer to clean.
Nice.
Because it's something that I love doing. And I think...
And it's actually therapeutic.
I think I clean the best. And I listen to music, I clean. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because...
I love the fact that you said I clean the best.
Yeah, you know what?
We'll ask Mommy.
And Mommy is good in kitchen.
Nice.
She can cook for
balance
days,
of roles, regardless.
And it's not something that maybe we sit down and discuss. It's just organically happened. When I'm at home, I just do my thing. You know what I mean? I just go in there and clean and do whatever I need to do. And then say, no, relax, I'll do it. And then, I'll just open my music there and then just do my thing.
Wow. This before I want to go back to Olive. This actually goes back to the topic to say maybe there's no definition.
Yeah.
Maybe like Abu Olive said, gray areas.
Yes.
We don't want to make it black and white.
Yeah.
Going back to the 50-50.
It's ever evolving.
It's ever evolving. Thank you.
It's ever evolving.
It's ever evolving. Maybe we should not define it. So, ladies, maybe you should find someone who understands what we're discussing on the element of don't define it as a role. Whether you say a man is emasculated, umlimazile wamhlalisa endlini akathi ingane, there's nothing wrong. I love the story of Abu Olive saying he had to take care of business. He stood on business because the mommy was hustling. At the time, maybe he couldn't find the hustle, but he still took over her role.
But look at how she fed back to him as well, though.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying that you also need someone that's going to also feed back to you.
Balance.
And
not just...
And to add to that, Kabza, I'll make an example. Even if we come back from work and the wife says, you know what, I'm not feeling like okay, I jump on the pot and cook.
Nice.
The thing is, I'll tell you one thing. I think most of us as men were bachelors before we got married. So the whole skill set of
doing stuff yourself.
Yeah, we're capable of doing that. You know what? So you get to things just align themselves when you're living with someone in terms of roles within the household, irregardless what you bring money-wise. You know what I mean? It just happens. If Olive enjoys waking up on a Sunday and start doing veggies, peeling, preparing to cook, maybe that's...
And that actually stems from something.
Yeah.
I'm loving what you just said, and I want to feed off it. This concept of girls are taught to cook, men are taught to hustle and do the garden.
Yeah.
The roles have changed, guys. Maybe some of us were watching mom cook as men.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why we can cook for ourselves, which does not make it a need to choose a wife based on what's paying pap. So let's go to Abu Olive. I want to hear something here.
Yeah, no, I hear you, my guy. And I think we are all in agreement here about the roles and experiences. But I think for me now, what needs to happen here, and I think that's where the problem is that women, abo mama. No, not abo mama. Imama. Elazi mama. they all have to go to the actual conference.
Right.
Yep.
Because of the problem here is not men handling domesticated duties and taking care of babies and cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think many of us here who have been raised by their moms, myself, me, I cook, I clean, I wash, I do everything.
Yeah.
And I think even from previous years where men were told like from a military or whatever experience, they are cleaning, they are cooking, it's always been there.
Yeah, self-sufficient.
My issue, I think, is that's why mama must go for a conference and they must just agree on each other, because they are the problems who are making problems for each other, for us here. Is the fact wait, Prajimi. Is the fact that when men take over those, let's talk about what we just spoke about now.
Yeah.
Take over those roles, and we said such kumbaya, nice stuff, and I understand. We said all these nice things.
Yeah.
But it is the very same women that criticize us and call us less of men, we're weak, we can't go and look. Because of, for me now, I'm telling you here, from my family, my family is that there's a guy, and I won't call him by name, but that guy, he's been taking care of his kids. Got 4 kids with my aunt who's just passed on recently. But let me tell you, that guy has been crucified by not only friends and neighbors,
but by the
it was mostly
family.
from our family.
Yes.
Right? Who was saying he's useless, he's leeching off my aunt.
Yes.
He is. So when a man takes on, and that, let me tell you that guy, if Ungati, when his kids have to look for someone to say, I want to do this, that guy is so good. He looks after his kids 24/7, 365, I'm telling you. He's with them all the time.
Yeah.
He is a good guy. He's a lovely guy. You understand that? But the thing is, he doesn't have the kind of financial...
No. Let him finish.
It's a financial role as compared to their mother, who goes out there and does well, past tense, because my aunt passed away.
Right.
And let me tell you, my aunt passed away with his dignity and his respect, because everyone else only respected him based on what my aunt was saying. But everything that he has ever done financially was based on the fact that my aunt, his car, or their car, which was paid by my aunt.
Right.
His house, their house, which was paid by my aunt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single thing was based on the fact that my aunt paid for it, but the man was there for their kids 24/7.
Right.
Not because of he was a useless dad. I'm not talking about a drunk here, guys. I'm not talking about a useless person. This guy is a guy that goes to a crash, meeting, or clothes them, goes and buys clothes. He is super responsible. But let me tell you, every single person from my family to the friends, neighbors, even where he goes and drinks. But I'm going to support on fast.
You see, Olive, it goes back to what I was saying, that as men, when you don't have that financial muscle, you get disrespected a lot.
Yet, ubano wazi umngako.
So, sometimes if he chose to listen to those people, he wouldn't be there for the kids.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think he stood by the cause to look after the children, which was the most important.
He wasn't like, you see, so that's what I'm saying, the alpha domesticated, and I think that's like a simple level where you're just a useless guy. where the wife says, sit at home, whatever, you know, and is domineering on you.
Dominance.
You know what I mean?
Exerting their dominance on you.
You know, one day we need to have an episode of what words you shouldn't say to a man that destroys a man. You know the word useless.
I know.
It might be right, but when we are told you are useless.
On many levels. But useless. Financial. Bedroom. What kind?
Dude, when they're saying, it's like, but we injure.
Like, no, but is that does not produce fruit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you see now, that's the emotional thing I was telling you, where it's like, where's the 50-50 on that?
That's
where
that
it's
part.
like, it ends up becoming 60-40, because now you have to
I know, that when they say you're useless, bro, that's 10-90.
Yeah, no,
but literally,
useless.
Because you must like keep composure within that and still be able to show that you're a guy.
Yo, you touched me. Today you touched me in an amazing way. I would Olive, yet again, thank you. And there's a power in what we're sharing. The world and everyone who's watching. We're always here to share certain elements around RedemptionX. Men talk and men share. And we are teaching you as a form of edutainment. Understand that when we sit here and discuss these things, we're trying to show you a different element of who we are. We love you, we care, and keeping with the theme of June Men's Mental Health Month, this is part of it. The 50-50 concept, it does work, and it's not financial only. Like you heard gentlemen sitting here being very vulnerable, myself, Abu Olive, sharing their personal stories. We're simply saying, we can do it, but allow us to, yet don't judge us for it. There are gray areas in a world which you want to create as black and white. 50-50 is not 50-50. Let's do the roles, but watch when a man takes over a role that a woman can do. And honor them, show them love, show them respect. They may be singing at home because of employment issues, but it does not mean they can't take care of the baby while you hustle. Like Abu Olive said. Redemption, find us, share your love, and subscribe, YouTube, Olive Branch Entertainment. We are here for you. Love you. Have a good day.